G'day all you wonderful people, welcome to Adventure Together. My name's Al and today I'm bringing you some tips to stay safe on trail and take care of yourself. When you go out on a long distance hike, you're going to be away from friends and family for a really long time and you're going to have a load of stories to tell when you get back. But what's the point in having all of those stories and collecting them along the way if you don't return home in as good shape as you left? So it's important to look after your health and look after your safety when you're out on trail. The first tip I have for you is to have the right equipment. It's really important to prepare for the environment that you're going to. I've seen people over prepare and under prepare. Over preparing can be as bad as under preparing. If you're carrying a great big 0-degree winter sleeping system and you don't need it and it's summer, you could be exhausting yourself. It could be too hot and you're carrying far too much weight. But it's also important that you're carrying the right equipment for the right weather. So if you're going out into winter conditions and you're going to be hiking in a cold climate, make sure that you've got the right equipment. Similarly with summer, make sure that you're wearing sunscreen and you've got sunproof clothing. You've got maybe a sun hat or a sun hoodie, something that can protect you from the sun and stop you getting heat stroke. Make sure that you know about any equipment that you've got to bring that might be out of the ordinary, maybe an ice axe or micro spikes. Certainly you need those on the Pacific Crest Trail in some places depending on the time of year, so make sure you know ahead of time, you watch weather reports and you follow other hikers that are going to be going through that area and see what they say. Number 2 is to nourish your body. Make sure that you are getting enough calories. If you're hiking all day, you're going to be going through maybe about 4,000, 5,000 calories. I was tracking mine when I was on the Appalachian Trail and I was sometimes going through as many as 6,000 or 7,000 calories in a day, depending on how harsh the terrain was and what the weather was like. It's important to keep on top of these things so that you know that you're getting enough energy to hike. Before long, if you are not getting enough calories into your body, you're going to become exhausted, slow and sluggish. It's important to make sure that you're getting the right vitamins, and it's important to make sure that you are getting enough water. A lot of people overlook electrolytes in their water, so consider adding electrolytes, especially in hot summer weather. Make sure you're fueling your body for repair as well. Make sure that you're getting enough protein in your meals as well. Also consider supplementation. Make sure that you're on top of your nutrition needs. My third tip is to make sure that you're treating injuries before they happen. Every night I would massage out my feet with this cork ball. It was a really great addition and they don't cost much. They're about £10 online, and you put that under your foot and you just roll your feet out each night. I also would massage my feet and massage my shoulders anywhere that I felt pain. So you can also massage yourself if you don't have a cork ball. With all the hiking you're doing, you're going to be stretching out your calf muscles quite a lot, so make sure that each morning and afternoon you are stretching out those calf muscles, because when you're using your calf muscles every day, they shorten up and they get stronger. If you're not stretching them, then it can lead to foot problems in the long run. So make sure that you are stretching out your calf muscles, you're stretching out your body, you're rolling it out at the end of the day, and also you're getting enough protein to repair those muscles. Another tip for looking after your body is to consider using support bandages before the injury happens. If you feel a twinge or you feel that something's just buckled a little bit, like a knee's buckled, and you feel like it might be weakening, use those support bandages before the injuries happen. Don't wait until the injury happens to treat it. My fourth tip is to be aware of what's in front of you on the trail. Make sure that you know about any major creek crossings or rock scrambles or anything else that you need to be aware of that's ahead of you up the trail. My fifth tip is to make sure that you're hiking with only one earphone in. A lot of us are going to be hiking with these things in. Make sure that you're not hiking with both of them in so that you can't hear anything around you. Only hike with one of them in at a time. Now this seems oddly specific. You might go, well, out of a safety video, why are you mentioning this? But there is actually a reason for it. If you've got both in and you're jamming out to Enya or whatever it is that you listen to and you're just going, oh yeah, I love this tune, you can't hear what's going on around you. You can't hear about other hikers that are behind you. Excuse me, can I pass? Excuse me. Could be more dangerous than that. You need to know what's going on around you. There was a large section in Northern Virginia where the trees and tree branches were just snapping off at a daily rate. There were branches coming down on trail quite frequently, and you were walking along and you had to be aware of what was creaking because it might just go. You need to know when you hear that sound that you've got to look around and go, okay, what's the hazard around here? Where's that branch be snapping from? There are things that you need to be aware of. It could be wildlife. It could be the shake of a rattlesnake or something like that, or it could be a bear crunching through the undergrowth. You need to be aware of what's going on around you. So don't hike with both of your earphones in at once. My sixth tip for you is to consider hiking in a tram lane. Now the reason for this is not just because it will make your hike so much better if you are around a community. If you are socially focused, then that is great. You can make some amazing friends and have a once in a lifetime experience with other people around you. But also hiking in a group makes you much more safe. It makes you safe from being approached by people. People who mean you harm are less likely to target people who are in a big group. If you're hitchhiking, then it's great. If you've got a mixed group of people, then it's going to be much safer to hitchhike than it would be just you on your own. If you're hiking in a tramley, you've also got somebody who's keeping track of where you are every single day. If you're hiking on your own for the whole day, but you're meant to meet a group of people at camp, and they know that if you don't turn up at camp one night, that there's something that's gone wrong, then they can immediately raise the alarm. They're also going to be a great search party if you did go missing. They would know roughly where you are. It's a great way to stay safe if you've got people around you always looking out for you. Tip number 7 is to trust your gut. If you have a gut instinct about something or somebody, if you feel like somebody's a danger to you, get out of that situation. Don't let your politeness be something that puts you in danger. If you feel like it's rude to say no to somebody, but at the same time you've got a gut instinct saying that you've got to get out of this situation, be rude. Get out of that situation. Anybody with 2 bits of common sense will know that if they've put somebody in an uncomfortable position and that person is a little bit rude to them and moves off, it's probably because of something they did. You may be a young girl at a shelter having a little bit of lunch, and then somebody comes along and they make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. And then while you're having your lunch, you feel that they are waiting around for you, and you can say, oh, it's fine, you go ahead. And they say, no, I'm going to wait for you. Let's hike together this afternoon. If you feel uncomfortable and you've got a gut instinct, this isn't right, this situation isn't right, and say, no, I'm going to hike on my own. Either you need to go or I'm going to go ahead. Don't feel that that's rude. You're looking after your own safety. Don't let your politeness be something that puts you in danger. Tip number 8 is upon creek crossings. When you go up to a creek and you've got a lot of water there and you've got to cross, then this could be a danger that takes you off your feet and pushes you downriver. So there are a few things that you can do to make yourself safer. The first one is to cross with a spotter. Make sure that you've got somebody looking out for you. Don't just roll up to a river and go, now I can cross this, it should be fine, I'll just be careful. Make sure that you've got somebody there with you, if possible, to look out for you and make sure that you've got across to the other side. And then you can turn around and make sure that they get across to the other side too. The next thing is to unbuckle yourself from your pack. Make sure that your straps are loose so that if you fall over in the water, you can dump that pack straight away. Just get rid of it. It's better that your pack comes off and goes down river and gets soaking wet than you go down the river and get soaking wet. If you've fallen over, dump that pack immediately. Don't even give it a second thought, because the pack will want to stay on the surface and probably push you underneath the surface of water. If you fall over in the water and you feel like you're going to be washed away and this is life or death, dump that pack straight away. Get yourself out. If you've got your pack straps up, you won't be able to do that. Similarly, if you're holding your trekking poles, don't put your hands through the loops. You need to be able to dump those and get your hands free immediately. The technique to getting across a river safely is to take it slowly, use your trekking poles, and make sure that you have one solid foot before you move the other. Don't just walk, walk, walk. Just have one step real careful, get your footing right, then take the next step, get that secure. Taking a few extra minutes here could save your life. Also, if you get up to a creek and it's far too dangerous to cross there and there's far too much water, then just do the sensible thing. Look for somewhere else to cross that might be a little bit safer. Tip number 9 is storing your food. We're all aware that we've got to keep our food safe from wildlife when we're on trail, but it's really, really important to make sure that you're keeping your food away from potential threats from bears. As the saying goes, a fed bear is a dead bear. If a bear knows that a certain campsite commonly has food and the hikers there will leave their food out, then they will keep revisiting that area and be a danger to the people that are camping there. Make sure you follow the guidance in the area. Those people that put those rules in place have been out on the trail for a lot longer than you have, and you might feel like, well, after 50 days I know this trail back to front, there are no bears around here, I know where I'm going. You're in a different spot every single day. Those groups that are there taking care of the trail know that area a lot better than you do, and if they say you need a bear canister, you need a bear canister. If they say hang your food, you need to hang your food. Following those rules should be the minimum that you do. Those requirements are there for a reason. There are some people that will go as far as never camping in a spot that looks like other people have been there, because if somebody was there last night and they left a load of food scraps and a bear came along and went, oh look, this person's left a load of food scraps, and then the next day someone was there for lunch and they left a load of food scraps, and then the bear comes back and goes, oh look, even more food, and then that night you turn up and you may be great with your food, but that bear is going to return as soon as they hear humans are there, because they're going to associate humans with food. Number 10 is a very, very simple one. It's don't be afraid to ask for help. You don't have to be an island and you don't have to get through this whole thing just on your own steam. If you're particularly short and getting up a rock scramble is pretty hard and then there are other people coming, you can ask them if they don't mind holding up your bag so that once you've got to the top, you can grab it so that you don't have to climb with your whole pack on. You can ask people that you don't know to spot you when you're going across a river. You can ask for advice. We're all out there for the same reason, and that's to do a through hike and to do it safely. Don't feel awkward asking other people for help. And the 11th tip I've got for you today is to leave a trace. Now, we're always told leave no trace, and that is right. You don't leave any litter around. You make sure that you bury your poop. You make sure that you leave the environment in a better condition than when you found it. But what I mean by leaving a trace is leaving a trace with people that are around you so they know where you could possibly be if you do go missing. The first and most obvious is to use a satellite communications device or an SOS device so that if you do get in trouble or you fall off trail, you can trigger the SOS on that and talk to emergency services and plan a rescue. Another way is to sign all of the trail registers. You find it quite commonly when people go missing and you read an article about them and it'll say they signed in at this trail register. That will be a point where people start looking for you. If you don't mind posting to social media regularly, it helps if you've got maybe an Instagram post or a Facebook post that says where you were. I saw this, or I was in this place. Make sure to check in with family and friends consistently. When I was on trail with my tramley, Holy Roller had a little Garmin InReach, and every night she would text her mum where we were, and she would say, we're at mileage, blah, 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 at campsite, blah, blah, blah. And Holy Roller's mother would know where we were on trail, and she would know that the three of us were together. Another tip is to have a trusted friend or family member track your hike and track you where you are. If you don't want to share it with the world and you don't want to post on social media, just at least have one person that knows where you are. In the event that you do go missing, this person could be somebody outside of the trail community that can alert authorities if you do go missing and you haven't contacted them in some time. It's important to give that person some information, so keep them updated with photos of you as you're going along the trail, particularly if you're male. Me, I was growing out a beard, so the beard was getting thicker. I was also losing weight as I was going along trail, so I was getting skinnier. How I looked when I started and how I looked when I finished were two totally different people. So make sure you're keeping those people at home updated with regular photos of you. Make sure they have a description of you, your height, your weight, any distinguishing marks or tattoos, maybe your eye color, hair color, any beards or anything else that may be used to identify you. Have that person have a list of all of your equipment as well. It's quite often that if your equipment is spotted on somebody else, that person might be linked to knowing whereabouts you are. Also give that person your trail name and the trail names of the people that you're hiking with. When you're on trail, almost everyone has a trail name, but nobody will know your real name. There are loads and loads of people I met on trail that I still keep in touch with that I don't know their real names. I only know them by the trail name they use. For me, if I went missing and everyone said, do you know where Al is? People might not know, but they might know where Lookout is. They might say, oh, I saw Lookout at the shelter 2 days ago. I saw Lookout at this viewpoint 2 days ago, 3 days ago. Likewise, the trail names of your tramley as well, and also maybe a picture of them, and also their contact details so that person back home can contact them if they need to. Keep them updated with your last major place you were at and also where you plan to be. You could say, hey, I'm in Damascus, Virginia, and my next major stop is Roan Mountain. Then when you get to Roan Mountain, you can say, hey, I made it. So that person knows that those couple of days you've been in the wilderness, you are on track. Another thing you can do is have that person who's looking out for you join the same subreddits and hiking orientated Facebook groups as you, so they can put out a post saying, hey, this person's gone missing, do you know where they are? And that will receive a lot more attention. Another thing you can do is switch on Google tracking on your Google Maps, or you can share your location on WhatsApp, and you can do that indefinitely on WhatsApp, and I think you can do it on Google Maps as well, where you share your location to a certain person and they can track you where you are on trail, and that uses GPS, so it doesn't have to worry about your phone signal. My 13th tip is to install a live map on your phone. I used the Far Out app when I was on the Appalachian Trail, and if I stumbled off trail or I took the wrong direction on a fork and I end up going down this one, I could have a look on the app and see where I was, and sometimes it would say I'm pointing in this direction and the trail's here, and I would turn and it would say yep, you're there, and I would know that I took the wrong direction at that fork, and I could retrace my steps and go back. So if you have live location turned on when you're using the Far Out app, it makes it a hell of a lot easier to retrace your steps. So that's it. Those are my 13 tips for staying safe and looking after your well-being on trail. If you've got any other tips for any other hikers, then please leave it down in the comments. If you like this video, please leave a like, consider subscribing for more videos, and share this with anybody that you know that likes camping, hiking and adventure travel. Otherwise, that's it from me. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Tip number 8, that's 9. Tip number 8 is